welcome.
Hi.
Hi, I am here with Donna Nauman, functional medicine nurse practitioner, and also just kindred spirit and friend of mine. And um, you probably know me, Alana Margulis, licensed psychotherapist and mindfulness teacher. And we just want to chat for a few minutes and introduce you to our upcoming workshop called Mastering Change and Loving Yourself Through Life's Transitions. Um,
Yay.
yeah, so something that we are all experiencing collectively, um, not just with the new year coming up and every seasonal change that occurs, but also there's been a lot that people and us including have
Mhm.
been feeling with this big transition in terms of COVID that we're all going through. Um, so yeah, do you want to share, Donna, a little bit about your experience of that and what we
Yeah, as a nurse practitioner, I feel like this workshop is for everybody. You know, I heard something the other day that really I sat with and kind of thought, huh. And it was a speaker that was talking about stress and anxiety. And he said, every single person has a smidge of depression. And
Mm,
I just kind of sat with that for a minute and thought, I just wonder if that's true. And in some ways, I think through the daily processes of life changes, I think we do have ups and downs in our daily life. And as a nurse practitioner, the statistics say 80 to 90% of the things that come into my doctor's office is stress related. And so, really focusing on a workshop that begins to talk about mindfulness and tools for stress and anxiety and how we go through transition and what those transitions do to the hormones inside of our body, why we can't lose weight or why we can't seem to focus or why we're having difficulties with our life becomes super important. And we have to learn to have tools that we can actually begin to initiate to help ourselves because nobody's coming. And if we don't make changes or adapt things or adopt things into our lives, then we begin to go down that spiral road where we begin to fail. So, and I'm sure you see that in your practice as well.
absolutely. It's tools. I love tools. We all want tools, but it's tools that it's not about the tools, it's the tools that allow us to practice the way of being and practice ways of relating and ways of navigating
Mhm.
life's challenges and depression and stress and anxiety that actually support us through, right? It's the practice of them, of the tools.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, I'm excited to dive into the tools that we have to share. We have so many. I know when we were planning this workshop, we were like, what tools do we want to share? There's so many we could use and so many we love. And we've narrowed it down to some really good ones, some really heart centered ones, um, which is why we're focusing on loving ourselves. Um,
Yeah.
that's a big tool. But what are some of the changes? I want to speak to some of the changes that we might be going through and experiencing right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I know for me, the last couple years, the last year in particular, brought some major relationship changes into my life, and that's been a lot to navigate. That has come with stress and anxiety and grief, and both positive and negative. You can have positive stressors in your life too. Um, what about you?
Yeah, so the last year and a half has been a big transition for me. I have been at a family practice for the last 20 years, owned it for 7, and events happened and it just kind of went away. And I grieved and I had a horrible time trying to come to a place where I began to transition back into who I am as a person because I had connected so much with that. I had connected so many relationships. I received so much love from that job. And to suddenly one day be completely cut off from seeing 20 patients a day, every single day, to nothingness, it took a ton of strategies and tools to help me accomplish and get where I am today. And again, it kind of goes back to what you speak about. It's a persistence of, do I meditate every day? Am I exercising every day? Am I trying to be mindful about what rabbit hole I'm going down as I fall into that place of grief or depression, because it's a place that I have never been before and add COVID into that, and relationships like you were talking about, those relationships that have been severed, it creates a chemical imbalance in our body. And I feel really strongly about helping people connect the fact that what you're going through has a chemical reaction is going on. It's not just the fact that you feel bad, but there's something that's actually causing that. And then when you start implementing these tools, they begin to upregulate other emotions so that we can begin to downregulate the emotions that are making us feel unbalanced or unworthy or not in love with ourselves. And I see a big change in how people perceive. I have lots of younger adults that are having a lot of difficulty with that self-worth part. And I think really getting back into the meditation and stuff like the work that you do is bringing people back into that space of self-compassion.
Yes, absolutely. Self-compassion. Thanks for thanks for introducing us to the, some of the techniques that we're going to learn in our workshop that sort of regulate the neuro and biological chemistry that happens, the shifts, the positive shifts that happens when we practice these techniques. So yeah, you went through a major career change that
Mhm.
shifted your experience of relationships. I think some other ways that we are experiencing major change is people are moving to different countries, people are moving to different states. Um, People are, not just people are making huge changes by choice in their career,
Yeah.
right? Which is very anxiety provoking. And then people are also losing their jobs, not by choice, right? And that's a lot. Um, yeah. So those are just some of the major changes that we're all experiencing together and that we'll speak to and that we'll work with. Anything else you want to say about our workshop?
I just want to say that sign up, try it out, try a different way of thinking, try a different way of feeling, and know that you have to rise to become empowered with what you're doing in your life. We have to rise and stand up and begin to seek something different. It's so easy to get lost. And especially in this time right now with all that goes on, because we don't have that connection, that oxytocin, that feel good stuff that really connects us. And so we have to rise up for ourselves, like rise to that place where you are dedicated to having some compassion for yourself and for others, because other people are all going through the same thing. And I think we forget that we are all connected. Like you're going through the same thing. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, maybe it's being stuck at home and not being able to do anything, or maybe it's even a mom at home with her kids all day, and that's like a transition for her as well. So like everybody's a transition, but the stages of grief, the stages of change are basically the same. And then learning how to reconnect with who we want to be, it just becomes so important. So sign up for the class and enjoy learning about who you are and falling in love with mindfulness and falling in love with heart math and all the things that can make us begin to reconnect with ourselves and with other people.
So empowering. I love it. Thank you. Okay, we hope to see you in our workshop.
Yay.